to welcome everyone on my channel again. I continue to post small videos on the development of a mod for the Heroes 3 of Might and Magic, The Days of Silence. This time, the video will be longer than usual, since it will consider all the development of monsters for the Necropolis faction. And we will start with the most expensive, deadliest and strongest unit, which is called the Keeper of Eternity. I divided all the units in the game conditionally into 10 levels from 1 to 10. Because I think you will agree that the Angel, a 7th level unit, and the Azure Dragon cannot both be 7th level units, since they are not equal in strength. In addition to the Keepers of Eternity and the Azure Dragons, the game will also have other units of the 10th level, such as Infernal Fafnirs, Ancient Dragons and Void Dragons. These units are the Keepers of Time and both worlds, of living and dead. They guard the veil between life and death that keeps all things in the world in balance. But when the balance is disturbed and an unknown being intervenes in the natural process, they decide to intervene so that their harvest of souls is successful and the world comes to an end. Keepers of Eternity are extremely dangerous. They have a large defensive and offensive skills and fixed damage, huge health level, and nice speed. But what makes them really powerful is their abilities. They are able to teleport, which means they can ignore any obstacles in battle. Has no enemy retaliation and immune to magic of level 1 to 2, which means that they cannot be slowed or have haste spell on them, so their speed will be fixed if you have no artifacts to remove their resistance. But that's not all. They also have a bonus damage to all living creatures by 50%. Death Stare gives them a chance to kill high-level creatures really fast. It is a truly killer of top LV beasts like Chaos Hydra, Gold Dragon, Titan and others. New unique ability Ultimate Fear that they cause in Souls of Living Banes is increasing their maximum health each time as it activates and makes enemies skip a move. Keepers of Eternity are undead so that they get all the pros and cons. But they also have a minuses. All non-living creatures and undead, without morale or non-living, are not affected by their abilities. For example, such can be golems, war machines, elementals and spirit-type creatures. Their growth 1 per week and cost a lot of gold and sulfur, which makes their purchase a very expensive investment. Dracolich originally appeared for the first time in the Wake of Gods mod. Rumor has it that this creature was created during a crazy experiment conceived by a necromancer who decided to combine the remains of a black fairy and bone dragon in a special orb, which gave rise to a very strong magical creature. Now the mighty Dracolich serves like the vigilant guardian of the Necropolis cities of Dea. Not much changes in basic stats if you compare to original version of this LV9 creature. In the Days of Silence he gained a couple of additional abilities, which completely secured him the right to be a creature of the 9th level, a little stronger than the creatures of the 8th level. Now he has 30% resistance to shot damage and retaliates always before enemy attack in melee. It has 4 shots and Death Cloud attack as it was, and 20% chance to avoid magic or melee damage. As all game dragons he's fly unit and undead with all the pros and cons. The price to hire this creature is high, but the value of this investment is good. It costs 20k of gold and 15 mercury, thus it creates competition and a deficit in the treasury when you buying the ghost or blood dragons. I've also did few graphic fixes to this model. Blood Dragon originally appeared for the first time in the Wake of Gods mod. This is one of the most beautiful graphic variations. Mod allows to do third upgrade of this unit from Ghost Dragon to Blood Dragon in Fort Hill. That makes Hill Fort more useful and desired object in game. It can also be buyed in external dwellings. There are not many changes from basic skills and attributes of this 8-level creatures. As it was before in Wake of Gods, they has a chance of life steal. Life drain can cause a fear on enemy. 40% chance to age enemy and also do -1, -2 to enemy morale. This unit can fly and also gets new ability 30% less damage from shot, which is caused by appearing in game of a big amount different types shooting and magic creatures. They are really thin in health if compared to other level 8 creatures, but their price also not height. This fight against another level 8 Mirage Aspids is really difficult for Blood Dragons. Immortal is a new unit I made specially for second chapter of campaign story. This is a creation of the darkest necromancy arts directed to resurrect in serve of Dea, most skillful and powerful warriors of the light. Templars that was buried under Erethia churches became a new weapon in the hands of undead. Not many wizards are able to resurrect such powerful warriors as zombies, so their numbers are not large, but the powers of immortals are really specific. Attack level is 0, which means that their maximum damage is dependent on two things: hero skills and defensive units they attack. All this binded to a monstrous levels of damage from 3 up to 208 that makes them dangerous in the hands of skilled player. Large amount of health makes them really tanky. But there are also few minuses. Their defense also on low level, so they get nice damage in return. And they are really slow on a battlefield. Now let's look on abilities they have. 40% chance of life regeneration. The nice bonus that restores 33% of life. 40% chance to cause disease and weakness the enemy. And also 50% chance to cast Disrupting Ray that can be a big problem with time. Because defense reduction increases their damage greatly. Few of such zombies can handle a small group of swordmen, archers and even champions. They cost 9k of gold and 3 sulfur per one creature. And growth by 2 in external dwellings. Meet them in upcoming campaign. Vampire Queens. The unit appeared in Might and Magic series, which is presented to the Days of Silence mod as addition to a classic Vampire Lords. They have belonged to Necropolis faction and served Dea as regular elite army. Their offensive and defensive skills are good for a level 6 creature. They have nice health level and medium speed and damage. They are stronger than Vampire Lords but unable to fly. That turns them from offensive more to defensive type of units. They are really good in covering stacks of lichers, skeleton archers and necromancers on a battlefield. They can be hired in external dwellings and growth by 2. That is lower than other LVL6 creatures because of their useful and powerful abilities. They cost a lot, but the price is not final yet and can be changed. They are undead with all pros and cons. Basical lifesteal ability of Vampire Lords is supplemented by Bloodthirstness and Animal Vampirism that gives extra health restore per hit and also when the less stack of creatures left. They get extra Resurrect from lifesteal. They don't have enemy retaliation as original vampires. The lack of damage on LVL6 compensates by extra damage bonus by 50% to light fraction, such as Castle and Rampart. By defending other stacks they give aura to magic resistance by 15%. Bone Golem unit that was reconstructed by me for the Days of Silence mod. I did a couple of graph changes to basic model, added a weapon, changed a lot of frames and resized them to be similar to original Heroes 3 graphic. And it looks good on my taste right now. Bone Golems are heavy offensive 2 hex creatures. They are creations of Dark Earth magic that combine together human and ogre bones into one huge beast. They are just puppets of their masters. Bone Golems has one of the best offensive and defensive skills, same damage as Dread Knights, low speed and health that compensates by their abilities and low price. They cause weakness spell that reduces enemy attack, have 50% chance to stun enemy on one turn immobilized target, and does extra damage to level 1 creatures. Lich is a 3rd grade of Power Lich, the original Heroes 3 unit. Lich has the same game mechanics supplemented by new ones. Their stats better than has 2nd grade, more health, damage and speed, and better offensive and defensive skills. That makes them too powerful for a level 5 creators, and to compensate that, price increased by almost 2 times. We skip all basic abilities, there was no changes, and let's look what was added here. First of all, larger stock of shots on a 10. Lich are immune to level 1 to 2 spells. They can't be buffed or debuffed by low-level spells, but it is good compensated by high health level and speed. Also, they drain mana that can be really cool if you combine them with Wraith affecting enemy to lose a lot of mana due battle. Let's see how works Raise Undead spell which they can use. You cannot apply it to a dead stack, but to partially restore the ranks of the undead is possible. These are the skeletons of the pirates of Ragnar, whose ships were captured and sunk, and their crews turned into undead by separate groups of apostates who fled from Dea during the war with Nicholas Griffinheart. Mortifier originally appeared as a unit called Skipper in Tides of War mod. Big thanks to mod design team that give me permission to take some of their 3D models and to work with him for my own mod. Check the links in description below the video for other good modes added for Heroes 3 of Might and Magic. So I did recolor of this unit to make it more similar to original Necropolis palette. But in addition to graphics, this unit has its own unique properties and voice acting in the Days of Silence. It was created specifically for carrying out lightning attacks on enemies and rivals' castles, since it is able to ignore obstacles and quickly attack, like the Royal Griffins. It responds to all attacks of enemies, poisons and raises the price of spells in the opponent's magic book. An additional feature of this unit is the fear that demoralizes living beings. This unit is cheap and grows a lot if compared to some other units at 4th level. Werewolves have always been an interesting addition for Heroes 3. Finally, the guys from Mod Design Team made a small dream come true. Really nice job, it looks perfect for Heroes 3. This unit makes a Necropolis faction even wider in the possibilities of choosing various tactics. It has really good stats for 4th level creature, almost perfect. Really aggressive and created for rapid raids with the goal of undermining the key troops of the opponent's army. Their special ability to turn others into werewolves allows them to declass high-level troops, turning the detachments accumulated by hard work into their own kind. So champions, pit lords or cyclops can become werewolves irrevocably for an opponent. They also have a chance to curse opponent troops and doubles its health in specific days of month that doubles their value due battle. Skeleton archers have always been my dream. I wanted to see a similar unit in the universe of Heroes. And I decided to do it. A week of work with the model, and some changings of the animation. Reducing their size, I managed to fit them into a general concept, which I really like. This is a 1st level unit which became the 3rd grade of Skeleton Warrior. They are weaker in stats if compared to original Skeleton Warriors, but able to shoot, which makes them extremely useful to get them in the ranks of your army. It is enough to place the Skeleton Warriors in the Skeleton Transformer in the castle. In turn, this will cost little to build an improved Cursed Temple plus Skeleton Transformer. The other way to get them is to find external dwellings on the map, which will give them in the amount of 15 per weeks for free. They have low damage and no defense, but it compensates by cascade ability of defense. Each turn they double basic hero's defense up to 3 charges and then it goes down. This makes them less vulnerable to attack several times per battle. Ghosts from Enroth. Yes, these callous creations have returned. Having neither flesh nor blood, being to all indifferent, they kill all and draw forth the liberated souls. These Erethian ghosts have learned a few tricks since the time spent in Enroth. They have learned to withdraw the spirits of all creatures and creations on the battlefield. Now, not only living things can fill up the ranks of the ghosts, but also dead, and also not alive and not dead. Only instruments of war such as catapults and ballista are beyond the reach of their ghostly embrace. This was the basic Wake of Gods concept that find new life in the days of silence. Now they turn into Banshee, howling spirit, unable to find peace and absorbing the souls of the living. Game also grants spell that helps to summon them on a battlefield. And that is new Necropolis special summon spell. But that's not all, they can also be found on the map and in dwellings. There are few changes if compared to original version of this unit. 20% chance to paralyze target and has protection from air magic, reducing its damage on 50%. This is flying unit with a good attack and low health, extremely danger rounds in big amounts. I made a new sound design for them, hope you enjoy this video review. The last creature I would like to talk about in this video concludes our review of the Necropolis faction. All these creatures will add a list of original creatures from Heroes 3. And hope will make the game tactics more interesting and varied, and also immerse better in the atmosphere of the campaign. Necromancers are the basis of the entire history of the undead. Wizards led by a desire to learn the secrets of forbidden and powerful magic, to command the dead. They were expelled from Bracarda for their immorality and gained their own authenticity and uniqueness, forming a stake called Dea. This is powerful spellcaster with a lot of unique ability, serves as alternative to Power Lich in some sort of. The unit is under development and will be presented soon.